Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Hardcore Heroes editions. For those of you that don't know what Hardcore Heroes is, it is our new second edition D&D show that is coming up on my channel in the coming months. And like its name, it's going to be notably hardcore and brutal. Player characters will die at 0 HP and their players will be removed from the show. We're going to use Thaco, we're going to use Descending AC, we're going to cut out all the cool weapons and all the fancy weapons, the fancy fighting styles from the combat and tactics. Cut out the spells from the non-player's handbook spell list, and just use the core, originally published second edition AD&D rules to the T, which will be fun. But for now, we are doing our auditions, and today, or right now, we have Deyan. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes, that's correct. Deyan is good.
Perfect. Here, Deyan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello Neo, hello chat. I am from Bulgaria. That's a country in Eastern Europe, so I have a strong Eastern European accent, as you might be able to tell. English is not my mother tongue, so I will feel free to butcher that language in any way I feel fit. What's more, I'm sick today, so I guess that will make it even a bit worse. What else? I have always loved RPGs. First, I discovered computer RPGs, and later I encountered this concept of the tabletop RPGs, and I've been in love with this concept ever since. In addition to playing, I like to do some a bit more introverted things based on RPG systems, such as trying to write short stories and failing, trying to program computer games and also failing. So that's pretty much it.
Well, fantastic. Let's start off. Would you roll some stats? 3d6. You can do it down the line, or you can rearrange, however you would like.
Sure. Roll 20.
This. Ooh.
Starting strong.
7.
Continue even stronger.
12. 7. 11.
Okay. It's possible to make a character with these stats.
Mm-hmm.
And the only option is mage.
Yes, it is. If you're going to keep them in that order, then...
Yes, I would prefer to keep the order. That will save me some thinking.
Do you have a race in mind?
I guess I don't qualify for much with stats like that, but I will see. 8, 7, 10. I would just copy the stats over to my character sheet. 12, 7, 11. Actually, I would like to also roll for secondary skill now.
Go for it.
That might determine something. Although actually, having in mind that there are no options other than mage, it will not determine that much. 46. What is that? 46. Navigator. Interesting. So elf could be an interesting option. But there is something that I like to do sometimes, and I think...
Hey, we are back. Sorry about that. The stream crashed all of a sudden. I think we were just talking about personality disorders.
Yes, that's an interesting subject indeed.
Yes, continue where you left off, please.
Yes, so I'm going to roll for personality disorder. That's something that I like to do sometimes. And we get 14, which I think is the worst possible one. It is self-defeating / masochistic. This is precisely what I was hoping not to get, and this is precisely why I usually don't really roll for this, but we'll go with it now. I would like to see if I can be an elf with these stats, because self-defeating would make sense for a very old elf who wants to kind of leave the world to a faraway place where elves go, potentially.
And you have the perfect accent for an elf, which is
And
great.
and I have Eastern European accent, so it's completely justified. I will not need to do anything, just be myself.
Yeah, and you can actually
So
do it well, as opposed to my terrible butchering of an Eastern European accent.
actually, you are not supposed to do the real Eastern European accent, I'm afraid. You're supposed to butcher it the way you do.
Oh, good.
So 8, 7, 10.
Do you have the stats for an
That's
elf?
good.
10,
12, 7, 11.
you do.
12, 7, 11. Yes, I can be an elf. So I'll be an elven mage. I cannot be any kind of dual class, multi-class, can I? I don't have any stats for anything.
No, you'd have to rearrange to multi-class.
Yeah, okay. So it will be just an elf mage. Navigator. So basically, I imagine a very old elf with long white hair, who has been like living on a ship most of his life. And he was a navigator. And with age, he started having this growing desire to leave, to go to. I don't know if in your world elves really leave to a faraway place after a certain age. Maybe they don't, and maybe this is precisely why he has this unsatisfied desire to do that, and it makes him a bit not really wanting to get far with anything, not wanting to achieve anything, and having this self-defeating attitude. Let's see about languages. I have intelligence 12, so that's 2 languages, so Elven and Common. Next thing, I can roll for HP. I don't have any modifiers from anything, right? No. Completely average. Yeah, so 1d4 for HP. Cool.
Very nice.
And wealth for a mage, that's 1d4 plus 1.
Times 10.
Yeah. That's 30 gold. Okay. I guess we should do spells.
Sure. I have a list of
With 12 int, I have 12 int is 50% chance. Oh, that's not awesome. And up to 7 spells. That's not awesome either. I would like to definitely start with sleep.
Okay. What is your percent chance to learn?
50.
Okay.
So I just roll for different spells.
D100, yeah, and then 50 or lower.
Below
Nice.
is success.
Yes.
Okay, so I have sleep. That's quite good. Let's do magic missile. No. Color spray. I have
Yes.
color spray. Something navigation oriented. I don't know. Some divination stuff, maybe. Identify. I will try it. Identify. I have identify. Read magic. Should I roll for read magic, or can we assume that I know it?
You should roll for it. You might have learned in a different way.
Okay. Damn.
Ooh.
No read magic. What else? Light. I don't have light. On your website, there is a nice spell list, right?
Yes. Let me get that link for you. Here, I'm putting it in the chat built into Zoom. It's at the lower part of the screen.
In the Zoom chat.
Yes, in the Zoom chat. At the very bottom, there should be a little chat icon.
Okay, got it. All wizard spells. At level 1. Burning Hands sounds good. Where did my... Okay. Okay, so I roll for Burning Hands now. I have it. I have 4 spells so far. Can I continue, or...?
What is your maximum number of spells you may learn?
7.
Yeah, you can go up to 5.
Okay. Change self is cool. I have change self. Okay, I have 5 spells.
Okay.
I'm going to memorize sleep for the beginning of this adventure. Okay, so we said that he has long white hair. He is very old. Regarding height and weight, I would say very average for an elf, because all his stats are very average. A bit below average, actually.
So
A
probably
bit
like
short and a
5'2"
bit
or
thin for an
5'3".
elf.
Yeah, I don't know the conversion. Probably around 160 centimeters.
That sounds good. And like 50 kilograms, 100 pounds. 100 pounds is a bit thin, but that makes sense because he's old and gray. He's male. Age. I don't really want to go into these old age modifiers. Can we just say that he's like very old, but not to that point?
Sure. Elves don't reach that point until quite some time. When do elves hit? So you can be very old, but in human years, you would end up being less than 45 years old. 45 years old is when humans start to take modifiers. So you can be very old for an elf, but when translating to human years, it's like middle-aged.
Okay. So I can say like 400, for example.
Sure.
400 is enough to get fed up of life, I think. I don't know. Name. Airlin Silverbeard. I think that sounds elfish enough. As for background, I guess he spent pretty much his entire life working in the fleet.
Mm-hmm.
The fleet that belongs to a certain elven kingdom,
Okay.
being working on different ships as the navigator, so directly advising the captain as to directions and what would be the best way to take advantage of the winds,
Mm-hmm.
this kind of thing. I guess as equipment he would probably have um, a compass, if such a thing exists.
Yeah, they can be slightly expensive.
Yes, I think of the order of tens of gold. I think it was
Yeah, I'm
once
looking up
when
the
I
exact
saw it.
price for you now. Compass.
It's table 44, I think.
Yes. I don't see a compass on here, but tens of gold sounds about right. Let's call it 30 gold for a compass.
That's all the. No, how much do I have? I have 30 gold, yes.
Okay,
No. 30 gold.
that's, yeah,
Okay, let's say that I'm using different tools, but they don't belong to me. They stay in the captain's cabin.
sure.
Um, I need a spell book. Does this cost money?
No, you get a spellbook for free.
And also ropes, boots.
Yeah,
Then,
clothes and spellbook and backpack you start with for free. Everything
okay,
else you must buy.
backpack. For an elf working on a ship, I think that daggers would make more sense than quarterstaff, because you are not walking around a ship with a quarterstaff. I think
Mm-hmm.
that would be quite cumbersome and dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll purchase like 5 daggers for 10 gold.
Okay.
20 gold left. Do I have to buy a water skin?
Yes. If you would like one, you must buy it.
I on table 44 there is only wine skin, which is
Wineskin, water skin, same thing.
okay, 8 silver.
Mm-hmm.
What else do I want? Smalls. I wouldn't necessarily have anything for dealing with fire, because since I lived on a ship all my life and I'm an elf, so I can see in the dark,
Mm-hmm.
it would be completely weird to have fire related stuff. I guess I would have some rations. So let's get a week worth of rations for 10 gold.
Okay.
Let me see what else. Five daggers. I cannot use any kind of shield, right? As a wizard.
Correct.
That's a pity. So I'm left with 9 gold and 2 silver. Which kind of makes sense for an old elf who had a respectable profession all his life. I mean, it would be strange if he has less gold than that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where you want to start me, but I would think kind of rather out of my element, so not really on a ship, but somewhere in a human town, maybe even.
Okay.
Maybe searching for the secret of where elves can go to if they want to disappear from this world. So trying to find if there is such a place, if the
Sure.
myths have some truth to them.
Okay. Trying to find a way to disappear.
To
Are
leave
you?
to the far
Yeah.
east or the far west.
Are
But
you all?
working,
Go ahead.
sorry,
Are you all done with your character creation? Or are you still working through it?
let me see. I have to calculate my AC, but that is very easy. It is 10. And I need to write for each weapon the different modifiers. So basically, there will be thrown dagger and stabbing with dagger. But I think in both cases it's the same. I think it's just a flat d20. Dex 7 doesn't have any malices or strength 8 either. So it's just d20 to hit. And I need to calculate my encumbrance. So the clothes and the backpack are 5 pounds. The spell book, how much does it weigh?
5 pounds.
5?
Yes.
Wow, that's a big book. Each dagger,
1 pound per dagger.
the wineskin, I have it somewhere. The wineskin is 1 pound. Rations for a week, it's not written in
If
in
they
the
are
manual.
dry rations, they're 1 pound per day. If they're not, if they're other types of rations, it is 2 pounds per day.
These are the dry rations, the expensive ones
Yeah,
for 10 gold.
1 pound per day.
So 7 pounds. So that makes a total of 23. And with 8 strength, I can carry just a second. Table. Oh, 8 strength is already 35. That's awesome. I'm not encumbered. We talked about all the physical characteristics and the background.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to fill out now the saving throws. If they are needed, I will look them up.
Okay,
Maybe they
makes
won't.
sense.
So I'm done.
Cool. Why don't you give us once more just a very quick look at the equipment you have and your background?
Sure. Erlin Silverbeard is a very old elf, 400 years old, with long white hair. He is kind of a bit on the weak and small and thin side.
Mm-hmm.
Humans wouldn't necessarily see him as old, but they do see that he has a kind of aura of distance. He doesn't really pay much attention. He sometimes they in the rare occasions when they would try to talk to him, sometimes he just doesn't answer and looks to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
He has worked on ships as navigator all his life for the Elven Empire or the Elven King or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing robes, boots, belt. He has a backpack on. He has his spell book. He has 5 daggers, all of them tucked in his belt.
Mm-hmm.
And in his backpack he has water and food, and that's it.
Cool. So let's hop into game.
Cool.
You have made your way all the way to the the decently sized town of Bergshire in the Kingdom of Farnelia. This is one of those few gem of towns that are truly multicultural. There's a nice mix of dwarves and halflings, humans, a few elves, plenty of half elves, the occasional orcs, kobolds, goblins, just everything lives here. Except for gnomes. There's like a few gnomes, but not a lot. No one likes gnomes. And you are here because you have heard that this is a place where well traveled people tend to gather. And you have a theory that maybe one of these people knows a way out, knows a way somewhere else. And so you are here. You have just arrived in town. It is middle of the day, like 1 or 2 o'clock, and you've just walked in. It's a pretty average human town. Everything is kind of doing its thing, except for all the strange folk about. It's out in the middle of the woods. There's not a lot of farmland around here, but there's a bustling center of town going on.
Okay. I hesitate for a minute if I want to directly seek out elves that live here, or if I want to go to the big tavern first.
Mm-hmm.
And I decide on the tavern because I'm not even sure if there are elves. I mean, you told this to me, but the character wouldn't necessarily know.
Right.
So I head to the biggest tavern.
Sure. You get directions to the biggest, most popular tavern here, and you come across the tavern called Shenanigans. It is on the main road, just a little way from the main market square. And walking in, the first thing that you see are 2 kobolds sharing a bar stool right next to the door and sharing a mug of ale. Behind them is just a mixed race crowd, mostly of mercenaries and sellswords. You see a few other wizards in there, maybe a couple of clerics and some shady, unscrupulous folks in the back. The bartender is wearing armor and has a weapon and is pouring drinks. There's some weird grumbling noises coming from the kitchen and going down the stairs, which are pretty much to the left. Like as soon as you walk in the door, the bar's to the right, the stairs are directly to the left, and coming down these stairs are a couple of dwarves just loudly clamoring down.
Erlin is very surprised to see kobolds in here. He has never seen kobolds in a human tavern. So this kind of awakens him a bit out of his reveries, and he considers actually taking a seat next to the kobolds if there is a table next to them.
There's a stool next to them because they're at the
It's
bar.
just a stool.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he draws another stool and sits next to them and greets them in common.
One of them turns and gives you a shy wave and goes, "Hello."
Do you guys speak common?
Mm-hmm. Speak common good. Very good. Big good.
Excellent, interesting. And you're just hanging out here in this tavern?
Live here. This is home. He points to the other side of the wall, which from the outside you saw that's where the stable is.
You live in this tavern, in the stables of the tavern?
In big pile of grass, next to horses.
I think that Erlin would smile, which is something that hasn't happened to him in the last 150 years. And he would continue asking them about what they're doing? Do they have some kind of jobs? How do they like it here? How did they end up here?
One of them proudly claims that he is the new assistant chef here at the tavern. Except he says it in very poor, broken common. I work kitchen. I help big kitchen boss. I drag rats away. I sweep floor. I eat things that fall. I make kitchen clean. I assistant cook. Pats his chest
That's
proudly.
excellent.
The other kobold goes, I am Kobold King. I rule over all kobolds. This is my home. He, pitiful slave.
Awesome. Who would be, dear little kobolds, who would be the wisest person in this town, in your opinion? The one that knows the most secrets, that knows everything.
Desmond knows. Desmond knows, and they point to the bartender.
Is Desmond an elf?
No, he is a human.
Okay. And he is well traveled and would know a lot of secrets about the world.
Desmond know everything.
And where can I find him?
He man behind bar.
Oh, he's the keeper of this establishment.
Desmond own bar.
That's very interesting.
Desmond own shenanigan.
Dear kobolds, I really enjoyed speaking to you. I will be back to you later and maybe we can discuss some more. Thank you very much.
Why are your ears so pointy?
Because I'm an elf.
What's an elf? Says one of them.
An elf is a being of... an elf is to a big extent a being of sadness. An elf is something that stays in this world and lingers in this world. And, you know, after some time, everything just seems the same.
Elf sad? Oh. I used to be elf.
I guess it happens to everybody to be a bit elf sometimes, yes. I can understand that.
The two of them start jabbering at each other in kobold loudly, and they look like they're arguing over something. You catch the word elf thrown around a few times, but unless you speak kobold, it's all gibberish to you.
I don't speak kobold.
Yeah.
I move on to the bar to speak to Desmond, and I greet him. Hello, good sir.
Hey there, traveler. What can I get for you?
I have food with me, but I guess I could do with a bit of something warmer and nicer. Do you have soup or stew or something like that?
Yeah, we've got some rabbit stew cooking. It'll be ready in a few minutes.
Then I would like a serving, please.
Good. Would you like some garlic bread with that?
Yes, please. That sounds good.
Who doesn't love some good garlic bread? Sure, I'll bring it up to you in just a few minutes.
How much will that cost me?
1 silver.
Thank you.
And he goes back to talking to the other guys at the bar and serving drinks and shuffling about. He seems very eager and at home here.
I wait for him to come back, and then I will continue the discussion with him.
He brings your soup back for you, your stew back for you, along with a side of garlic bread, and places it in front of you.
Excuse me, sir, but I would like to ask you a question if you have a moment, please.
Yeah, what's up?
You were recommended as a really wise man, and
Oh, thank you. That's flattering.
by the most amazing creatures in the most amazing environment that I have seen in the last hundreds of years, you were recommended. So I decided.
I am a close friend of the Elven King, yes.
I wonder how much you would know about elven legends.
Quite a bit. I've spent many years in your lands.
I spent many years seeking for a certain answer, and I spoke to a lot of elves who couldn't answer me. So at this point, I am ready to speak to other people as well.
Good.
Maybe this
Not.
would sound a tiny little bit derogative.
He nods.
Um,
It's not often that you get elves seeking out humans for help. It's good to see that the race is capable of change and appreciation of all we we folk have to offer. He says with a bit of a smile.
yes, at this point, I am ready to look for the answer in all the strange places, and this place looks like a really strange one. I wanted to ask you if you have heard of the legend of elves who are tired of this world, who are tired of this land, leaving it to go to a faraway place where they can retire.
His kind of happy, smiling face kind of drops a little bit, and he gets a kind of sad and long lost look on his face. Because yeah, I know something about that. Are you? Is this for you or for someone else? For a friend?
It is definitely for me. I wouldn't want to wish it or to force it upon anybody else. This quest is very personal, and I am very alone. And yes, it is for me.
Yeah. Well, I know of a
I would be
place.
ready to work for the answer if you would know it. I would be ready. I don't have that much gold, but I would be ready to pay for it.
I'm happy to tell you what I know, but this is definitely something that you will have to do on your own, and it will take some effort, and it may be less than pleasant at times.
Of course.
Um, I once had a friend in a similar place who decided to take this course of action. Last I heard from him, he had found a way to depart for somewhere else. He said it was to the west. Oh shit, I'm forgetting the name of this place. Uh, on Paradise Island, which you would know to be this rather large island to the west, beyond the where you are now. Has a large mountain in the middle of it, and is half of the west side of the island is kind of run by this nasty green dragon, and the east side of the island is the center of gnomes for this part of the world. All the gnomes live there, and pretty much no
Okay.
one ever goes and hangs out there because it's just hundreds and hundreds of gnomes, and they can be kind of annoying. But they are known for their iron reserves.
And excuse me, good sir, did you mean that he went there in order to continue from there towards the destination that he was seeking, like me? Or
He
did he have the feeling that this is the destination, Paradise Island?
The last I heard from him was a letter he sent me saying that he had found the answers he was looking for on Paradise Island. I I don't know if that means he found his exit point there or if he found how to find his exit point there, but if there are answers to be found, you can find it on Paradise Island.
There is excitement in Erlin's eyes because this is the first lead that he hears about in the last hundreds of years.
Hmm.
And and he's thinking about leaving pretty much immediately in that direction. Would I know how far Paradise Island is? What kind of journey it would require?
Yes. You would need to take a ship. I can get you a distance in just a second. You can take a ship from the port north of where you are, and from there it would be a what is that? Like a 150-mile boat journey.
Okay, that should be several days.
Yeah, but it's only several days. Maybe a little longer than 150 miles. Maybe close to like 200 miles or so.
Hmm.
But it's only a few days out from where you are now. It would take probably another day or two, maybe 2 days to get to the port. So a week, a little over a week to get there, all told.
Okay. I guess I will just thank Desmond and shake his hand, and I'll take my leave.
Okay.
What time of the day is it?
It was middle of the day when you arrived. It's been maybe an hour or so since you've been here. So 2, 3 o'clock maybe?
I'm not going to wait for the next day. I will just leave towards north.
Okay. You head out and go northward. What spells do you have? What spell do you have memorized today?
Sleep.
Okay. Let's see what trouble we can get into. Okay. So you head northward along the road towards the town of Coxport. It's a fairly quiet, peaceful journey through the forest. The first day is uneventful. You make it like a quarter of the way there, stop and sleep on the side of the road at night. You don't have a tent or a bedroll or anything
No.
like that. Okay. So it's a rough night on the ground, but you're probably used to these things as a traveling man. The second day of your journey proves to be slightly more eventful. You are walking down the road when you come across the scene of a battle. There are a few bodies on the ground. You see 2 orcs and 3 humans. One of them has a bronze collar around his neck that signifies that he was a slave before he died. The other 2 humans look to be free men, and then there are the 2 orcs.
And so the three humans are fighting against the two orcs.
No, they're all these are dead bodies on the ground.
Oh, okay, that's all. Only dead bodies.
Only dead bodies.
I need money for my trip. The
Hmm.
9 gold might not be enough, so I will search the bodies.
Okay. The bodies have no coin on them. In fact, all of their valuables have been taken. Any weapons that they might have been fighting with have been taken. And the orc looks like he's been moved around since he died, just based on blood pooling. And he also looks like he probably was wearing armor before. He's got like padded clothes underneath. Or he's got padded clothes on, which you would normally wear underneath armor.
Okay. I'll just continue on my way.
Okay. You keep walking. 2 miles later, you're crossing a small creek that the road just goes over. There's a fallen log that has been rolled over to make the crossing a little easier, so you don't have to get wet at all. And on the other side of the log are 4 goblins. You're kind of coming from a slight bend and cresting over a hill, so you get to see them before they notice you. And these 4 goblins are standing on the other side of the log, just chatting amongst themselves.
From the distance, I will shout, "How much?" in common.
The goblins turn, a little surprised, look at you, jabber amongst each other. And, and then they start to fan out a little bit, slowly starting to separate themselves, getting a couple of meters in between each other. You notice each of them has it's a club that has a couple of spikes driven through it for weapons. They don't wear any armor. They do not reply in common.
I will retrieve behind some trees and do my best to hide.
Okay. There's a gibbering between them, and while you are hiding behind these trees, you can hear the sound of them splashing through the creek and twigs breaking underfoot as they move in your direction.
I will try to continue drawing backwards, making as little noise as I can.
Okay. There's actually rules for elves and how stealthy they are doing this sort of thing.
It is unfortunately only to surprise a group, I'm afraid, and I didn't try to do that. It is when you're attacking a group or a creature, and you have the option to approach them stealthily.
Yes. But if you can approach them stealthily for attacking, you should be able to retreat stealthily. There's no rules for getting away, but it does allow you to move quietly because you are very soft-footed as an elf.
That would be awesome if you allow
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So you slip away as best as you can. Let's see how that works. As you kind of vanish through the trees, you can hear one of them give a loud screech, and then it kind of goes quiet, and you hear him jabbering angrily. If you glance over your shoulder, you can see that he is smacking the tree where you had originally moved behind with his club. But they don't seem to notice where you went, and you lose them momentarily.
I will continue hiding for at least an hour or two without moving.
Okay.
Do I see something?
No. They move around, they search out the area, but after 15 minutes or so, they give up and head back to where they were.
Then I will start carefully approaching the bridge again, using my elven stealth again. Do I see anything?
You do. You crest over the hill and you spot them, but this time they are alert and looking about. And as you spot them, one of them points to you, yells loudly, and they all run in your direction right away.
I'm going to try to cast sleep on them.
Okay, roll me initiative.
Sleep is speed 1, if
I
I
believe
remember
so.
correctly.
It's a very fast spell.
So 1 plus d10. 5.
5. Just need to look up quick weapon speed for a moment. Because that is close. 3. Okay, you go at the same time as one of the goblins who is coming at you with his spiked club. What is the... Sleep is pretty broken if I recall. There's no saving throw under certain situations.
And it can affect a group of creatures, I believe.
Yeah. Well, let's see exactly what the save is for these guys. I don't know. Is it a hit die thing or is it an intelligence thing? Sleep, sleep, sleep. Here we go. No saving throw at all, actually. Monster. Da, 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 da. So give me roll a 2d4 for the number of hit dice you affect.
Awesome.
Oh, great. This guy still gets his attack off. Your spell finishes up just as his club swings towards you, whizzes by you barely, cracking into the tree, and then all the goblins just collapse to the ground.
I will immediately take out one of my daggers and slit their throats as quickly as I can.
Okay, you go from one to the other. How long are they asleep? 5 rounds per level. Oh yeah. Well, you can kill them all before they wake up. As an elf, you're nice and
Awesome.
quiet, and you move from one to the other without making a sound. Moments pass, and all the goblins are dead.
For Erlin, there is no feeling of victory or of excitement at this. It's a bit kind of like business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
The misfortunes of traveling on these roads.
Mm-hmm.
And again, with the same attitude, he proceeds to like check if they have any precious belongings.
They do. One of them has a red ruby, about this big. It's quite large, actually. A large ruby. The others have copper and silver coins on them. 20 silver, 35 copper.
Diligently, I collect everything in my backpack
Mm-hmm.
and continue on
Okay.
to the north.
You continue onwards, and the rest of the day passes fairly uneventfully. You camp down for the night, and night passes uneventfully. You're almost to Kershwick, which would be the town where you catch a boat to get to Coxport, which you could then take to Paradise Island. And the next day, you cross the Great River that, well, it's not the Great River, a large river that borders Kershwick. There's a huge wooden bridge that goes across it, wide enough for 2 wagons to pass each other along the bridge. The river itself is about a quarter mile across, so half a kilometer across or so. And there are a couple of people, 2 humans, hanging out on your side of the bridge, chatting to one another. They don't wear armor, but one of them does have a short sword. The other guy has a dagger.
I would know this town to be a fairly civilized one, right?
It's a civilized human society, but this town, you pass through it on your way to Berkshire, is also known for its roughness. These people are they're all sort of outdoorsy, fend for yourself, don't ask other people for help sort of folks. They're very independent minded.
Is it too late that I say that I collected the ears of the goblins I killed?
Yes, that is too late.
And I wouldn't have anything, so I only took the money basically and the ruby.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't have any way to show that I slayed 4 goblins.
Mm-mm.
I approach the 2 gentlemen
Mm-hmm.
and I greet them in common. I say, "Hello, good sirs.
Well, looky here what we got, Otis. It's one of them fancy-styled elven types. You certainly are right, Billy. Say,
Yes.
elf, what are you doing around our part of the world?
I am passing through here, and unfortunately there was trouble on the road. I was ambushed by 4 goblins and I had to kill them.
Little elf says he killed 4 goblins. Well, looky here. Say, you got any proof of these goblin killings, or maybe you killed and ate some humans you found on the road?
No, I wouldn't kill humans because they wouldn't try to block my way. But these goblins were blocking the road at a bridge and there was no other choice. I tried to avoid them first, I tried to hide. I hid for several hours and I hoped that they would go away, but they didn't, so then I had to kill them so that I can move forward.
Definitely sounds like an elf, Otis. Hiding in the woods for hours, waiting for the goblins to run away. Yep.
Yes, it is a particularly good strategy to deal with a number of situations of this kind. I have employed it many times in my life.
Ooh, look at him speaking all fancy like.
I'm sorry, this is my usual way of speaking. I have not known any other way of talking ever.
Uh-huh, so you're just born better than the rest of us, is that it? Oh,
I wouldn't say so. I would say that I was rather cursed.
Ah, so you're cursed. Cursed to be an elf. Cursed to live on forever and ever.
Yes.
Must be a real hard life there.
You have no idea.
They roll their eyes. What is your
I will try to
charisma?
continue forward and just leave them.
What is your reaction adjustment under charisma?
Charisma is 11, so I guess 0. I didn't check it, but
Okay. Yeah, I
I'll
think
check it quickly
it's
now.
fine.
11, 0, yeah.
Oops. It is
By the way, I remember I sleep again in the morning.
okay. Okay. They eye you with great suspicion, but leave you alone and let you cross the bridge without any problems.
Excellent. I continue inside the town.
The town is, well, just kind of filled with these people. Everyone's got these strange accents. There's a lot of people out there farming in the fields. You see quite a few slaves about, but that's kind of common for this area. These humans tend to take slaves very freely.
I didn't even recognize that these humans have different accents from usual. I mean, actually, me as the player, I read in chat that now you are doing Southerner accent, and this is
You,
what made me realize that you're trying to do a different accent
you
now. But I
couldn't
think
even tell.
as a player and as the elf, we are oblivious to the fact that actually these humans are more varied or
Well,
more
that's all right.
more exotic than the other humans.
Uh, um,
In any case, I noticed that this is a less elf-friendly town than the previous one, and I decide to skip the tavern and to head directly for the docks.
okay.
I have consumed by now 3 rations, I guess.
Today is day 3. No, because the first day you ate early on in the day at the bar, so you've had a full day on the road and then 2 half days on the road. So you're done with 2 rations.
Okay, but today now as well, I will skip the tavern and just eat from my rations while walking towards the docks.
Okay. You come down to the docks, and it is, if anything, an even more rowdy place. There are plenty of ships being unloaded. There are cargoes all over the place, wagons being pulled off, plenty of horses coming out, lots of merchants around. The smell of strange spices is on the air, and there are a great many ships leaving, large ships and small ships. You can see off in the distance the island. Maybe not. How far is that actually? 11 miles. No, you can't quite see it. Um, but you know that out in the water, far enough out, is an island that has a port on it. And that port is where you would find a ship to take you all the way to Paradise Island. You might be able to find one here, but more likely you would have to hire someone on a more personal level to take you there.
If there are more chances to find somebody on the island, then I will first take a small boat to the island.
Cool.
I will not even ask here if there is anybody who can take me directly to Paradise Island. I'll just look for a small, kind of cheap looking boat to take me to the small island ahead.
Yeah, you can definitely find plenty of little boats that are heading out that way. There are people down on the docks calling, next ship leaving to Coxport, 20 minutes, 20 minutes to Coxport, anyone need going to Coxport? That sort of thing. It's very easy to find a ship to go there. It will cost you 5 silver to get to Coxport on one of these boats.
Okay, I will just hand over the 5 silver
Mm-hmm.
and not greet these people, not talk to them. Just hand the 5 silver and go in.
Okay.
Try to minimize my discussions with them because they don't seem to be elf friendly.
Yeah, they are pretty happy to ignore you, just take your money and let you get on the boat. Many of the other passengers are chatting amongst each other, but everyone leaves you alone. And a few hours later, you find yourself on the shore of Coxport. It is a much larger port town. It also has a nice large wall around the city, and you can see ballistas up on the defenses.
What time of the day is it?
It is approaching evening. I guess this is probably the last boat to Coxport for the day.
Okay. Regardless of the fact that evening is approaching, I will still search for through the docks, I will search for a boat that has people on it whom I could ask about if they would be willing to take me to Paradise Island.
Sure. Give me a charisma check, please.
Sure. My charisma is 11. D20 plus 11. This is
Yes,
how we do
sir.
it now.
Ooh, almost.
Yeah.
Um, as you start to ask around about these things, most people give you a strange look and just say, no, we're not headed that way. Maybe someone else is." And then turn awkwardly and try and exit the conversation with you. You spend a few hours looking around, but it looks like the dock is shutting down for the day, and no one here has been friendly enough to help you out.
Okay, then I will head for the closest tavern.
Yeah, you find a tavern nearby the docks. It is quite crowded with busy sailors who are all very drunk, laughing, seeming to have a good time at the expense of other people. There are a couple of half elven dancers, just normal dancers, up on a small stage, and they are getting lots of jeers and hoots and hollers by these drunken sailors. There are two bouncers, one by the door and one by the stage. The one by the stage is a half orc. The one by the door is a unusually tall dwarf who has a very tall battle axe with him that it's taller than he is, and he has it next to him to help alert people to his presence.
Erlin is trying hard to notice as little of all this as possible and heads directly to the barkeep to ask for a room. He's not going to ask for food, just for a
Yeah.
room.
It takes a few moments, but eventually you get a room. It will cost you 3 silver just for the room and no other accommodations.
Okay, then I go to sleep.
Okay, you go to sleep. Next morning comes, the bar is pretty much empty. There are a few people who have passed out on the ground, but other than them, the place is deserted. A tired innkeep asks if you want any food as you get up.
Actually, now that there aren't people who might bother them, I consider that it would be a good idea to eat and save my rations.
Okay.
So I will take some food.
Another silver for food here.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I memorize change self.
Okay.
I will go to a secluded place, which I guess would be the toilet outside,
Mm-hmm. Yep, there is an
and
outhouse.
actually, how long does change self last?
2d6 minutes plus 2 minutes per level.
Okay. How far are the docks?
1 minute away.
Okay. So inside the toilet, I will cast change self on myself, and I'll try to look as regular human as possible.
Sure. Give me a 2d6 plus 2.
Sure. Not bad.
Quite good. Quite average, actually. Great. So you have 9 minutes looking like a human. You head to the docks looking for a ship.
Yes, as I walk as quickly as possible.
You find quite a few ships down there. How do you want to go about searching for one that is heading to Paradise Island?
Maybe I collected some information last night about which ones would be likely to go there but still refused me.
No, everyone last night was kind of rude and then just said that they weren't going.
Paradise Island seems to be far, so I guess bigger ships have more chance to be heading that way.
Okay. Let's see. Let's take a look. Okay, so you start asking around for any ships that are heading to Paradise Island. The first person you ask says, no, no, we're not headed down there, but if you go and see the harbor master, he should have a list of where every ship is coming and going to. He might be a very helpful person for you.
What is his name?
Uh, Benjamin.
Benjamin. Excellent. Thank you very much. How
Mm-hmm.
many minutes have passed by now?
2?
Do I have a cloak?
Yes.
Okay. It is not a good idea. I mean, it is excellent that in human form I managed to collect this information about Benjamin, but I should talk to Benjamin back in my normal form. I try to look for a secluded place again, like maybe another toilet-like thing or around there.
There's
Like if
a
there's a bar nearby, the toilet of that bar or whatever.
Yeah, there's a line out the toilet, but you can find an alleyway to sit in and wait for your spell to wear off.
Yep, I do that, and then I head for Benjamin.
Okay. So while you're sitting and waiting in this alleyway, a human comes around. Like you're deep into it, so that no one will really notice you when you shape change. This human kind of walks around, comes around from the even deeper side of the alleyway, around a corner, and stumbles up towards you and goes, "Oh, hey, didn't see anybody in here. I didn't see you there. What are you doing, skulking about?"
Am am I still in human form
You're
at that point
still
of
in
time?
human form. You probably have like a minute or two left.
I
Not a
stand
lot.
up and take off the hood of my cloak,
Hmm.
so he can now clearly see in front of him a ordinary-looking human.
Hmm.
And I tell him, "Hello, good sir. What can I do for you?" And I
Uh,
smile, a broad smile.
no, nothing, nothing. Just why are you hanging out in this alleyway?
Good sir, why would that be a question that you would be interested in asking?
Give me a charisma check, please.
Sure. Rolling the dice. It's okay, 27.
Yeah, you notice that he looks very anxious and nervous. He's doing lots of like, it's kind of not everything at once, but he definitely is displaying many nervous tics. He says, no reason. This just happens to be my building, and I was coming out the back door, and strange people lurking around my alleyways. I don't know. It seems like something one ought to ask."
I understand. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to disturb at all. I put on, I put back on the cloak of, I mean, the hood of my cloak,
Hmm.
and move, and just leave.
Okay. He follows you out as you leave. You get
He follows me.
Yeah, like as you walk out the alleyway towards the front, he follows and walks out towards the front as well.
Oh, if he's following me, then I'm not going to leave the alley.
Hmm.
Basically, my original plan was to intimidate him by turning back into elf, but
Hmm.
then, based on my charisma roll, I got the impression that actually he's not really trying to do any harm to me, but he's just really anxious about what is going near his house. But actually, do I perceive that he was lying about that?
A roll won't tell you if someone's lying, but you can tell that they're nervous about something.
Okay. If he's following me, then I understand that he was actually lying, that this is his house and that he is anxious about a stranger being there. So I switch back to the original plan of intimidating him. So I stop, always inside the alley, turn back to him and remove my hood.
Actually,
Am I still a human?
you are still a human, but it's about time for that to run out.
Excellent.
What do you say to him?
So
He stops and looks at you and goes, "Excuse me, aren't you? Get out of my alleyway."
I will do exactly that, sir. But please do leave me alone because I can assure you
This is where
that
you
you
change
don't
into
want
an
any
elf.
troubles with me.
Mid-sentence, your shape shifts and twists, and his eyes go open and wide, and he starts to back up as you transform into an elf before him.
Sir, it is very wise to back away from me. Please just leave me alone. I am leaving this alley. I don't know if it is your alley or not, but I'm leaving and you should leave me alone as well.
He backs up, reaches behind his back, and pulls out a large knife and holds it before him. He's a good 3 meters from you now, but he's got this knife out and he's looking very, very cautious. That's the right word.
Then I will ready an action to throw a dagger at him. And if he starts approaching me with the knife, I will throw a dagger at him.
Sure.
And I stand still.
There's a standoff for a few moments there where you're both just looking at each other, not neither of you making a move. Do you want to be the first person to act, or are you just going to wait for him?
I am definitely not going to be the first person to act. Waiting is my element. I'm a waiting wizard, so I'm just waiting.
Okay. A few moments pass, maybe a minute of this uncomfortable standoff, and then he takes a few steps further back and turns and flees down an alleyway behind one of these buildings.
I put my dagger back on the belt and go for Benjamin.
Okay, you find Benjamin hanging out by the docks.
Hello, good sir.
Hi, he says. Awkward, as
Hello.
usual.
I would like to travel to Paradise Island.
Paradise
Would you be
Island.
able to take me there?
You do know that place is an infested shithole, swarmed by green dragons and gnomes.
Yes, I heard this information already earlier, but thank you for confirming it. I appreciate that.
Okay, hold on, let me check the dossier. He flips through some pages and goes, it looks like none of the ships have recently made port there, and I don't think any of them, well, at least none of them are chartered to head back out. Maybe
Sir,
some new
I'm a
ships will
very
come in?
good swimmer. If a ship would take me close to the island, within swimming reach of the island, it will not need to dock there. I can just jump out of the ship and swim my way to the shore.
Well, it looks like this ship here, the Lady Luck, is heading to Minataria. Paradise Island is on the way, slightly out of the way. Maybe you could make some sort of deal with the captain. I'm sure a well-placed bribe would get you close enough to the island that you could hop out.
That sounds good. And how much would the ticket to Minotaria be?
You have to work that out with the captain himself. But
All
it's
right, thank you.
that ship down there, he says, pointing to a large three-masted ship well away from you.
Thank you very much for this information, Sir Benjamin. You have been most helpful.
He
And I
nods
leave towards the
and
ship.
watches you intently as you leave. You come across the Lady Luck. She is a large three-masted ship that is making final preparations for leaving. There are passengers loading on, and there are 3 Minotaurs as passengers getting on, as well as a whole slew of humans.
I'm not very much impressed by the Minotaurs. I guess I have seen such many times. I try to find the captain.
You find the guy in charge of hiring or acquiring passengers. The captain is. You can see him up on the ship. He's busily giving instructions and orders. But the Barker tells you, "Hey there, we are headed to Minataria, and then on to Stoneport and Bondundasir. If you are interested in taking out to any of these places."
Sir, my destination is Paradise Island, and I am a very good swimmer. Would any of these locations be within swimming distance of Paradise Island?
Well, if you really want to go there, Minataria's on the way. Would be extra for us to go out of our way. It would delay us by plenty of hours, maybe even a full day. But for the right price, we could definitely take a little detour, get you close enough that you could paddle out.
That sounds most excellent. What would the price be?
So a normal ticket to Minataria would be 6 gold, but if we want to divert the entire ship out of the way, it's going to be another 20.
I understand.
And if you want, we could even provide you with a rowboat to get you there. But that would be another... He looks up the cost of a rowboat on a ledger that he has in front of him. Seriously, there's no rowboat? But that would be another 30 gold.
Would I know how much a red ruby costs?
Probably a few hundred GP, maybe even more, depending on the quality and size. Actually, a ruby that size is probably like 500 GP.
I would be aware of that fact.
Yeah.
In that case, I guess I would try to sell the red ruby somewhere in town
Okay.
and then come back quickly enough. So I will tell this person that I will try to collect the required funds.
Well, hurry it up
And
because
ask him how much time do I have for that.
we set sail in an hour and a half.
Thank you very much. And I will immediately head towards what would look like the gnome district or the jewelry stores or whatever.
Of course. Yeah, you search around and eventually come across a large open air market. There are plenty of town guards walking around. They have bronze breastplates, large spears with broad leaf shaped bronze heads on them. They wear the bronze breastplates with studded leather skirts and bronze greaves. They walk in pairs of 3 and they just kind of cover the place. Looks fairly safe. And you see many merchants selling all sorts of things. There's spices, there's silks, there's weapons, there's jewelry, there's gems, there's potions, there's everything that you could possibly want.
Is everybody human?
No, there is a mix of people. You see a few elves, not a lot, but a few elves. You see a few dwarves, actually quite a few dwarves. Lots of humans, and then a few here and there other things. There's a couple of packs of halflings running around. There's a minotaur over here. You even see a centaur. 2 centaurs manning a booth.
Do I have the impression that if I try to sell this precious stone, I might get into trouble?
No reason why you'd get in trouble if you're trying to make an honest transaction.
I found it on the body of a goblin, and it prior to that it belonged to somebody that the goblins killed. I am wondering if it is worth taking the chance of getting in trouble for several hundred extra gold. And then I decide that most probably I will need all the funds I can get on Paradise Island because things seem to be troubled there, and I'll probably need to hire some mercenaries to help me uncover the truths that I'm seeking. So I decide to try to sell the stone.
Okay. Give me a
I guess I
charisma
will look
check.
for a gnome if I can find one.
For a gnome?
Yeah,
Okay, give me a charisma check, please, as you find this gnome.
sure. Oops, wrong window. 29.
Fantastic. You actually not only find a gnome, but you find a gnome who specializes in jewelry. And he is sitting there with his little shop, yelling out at anyone that's passing by. His business seems to be pretty bad. He's got a full table of stuff in front of him and not a single person talking to him.
I am afraid that he would be a talkative gnome because I have encountered such in the past and I don't have much time. So I try to just make a very long speech, not giving him time to talk, explaining, "Hello, good sir. I am a traveling wizard and
Oh,
I
my
am on
wizard,
an
hello.
important journey. And unfortunately, on my way towards this town, I was ambushed by four goblins.
Oh, you
And
don't say.
initially, I tried to hide, but then I was forced to kill them.
Uh-huh.
And fortunately, my magic helped me with that. And I uncovered from them this precious stone. I would like to sell it.
Well, that's a fascinating tale. I would love to hear more of it. Now, you said this found this stone on these goblins. Can I look at the stone? I'd love to see its clarity. Do you know where they got it?
Sure,
This looks
here
like a
is the
ruby.
stone. Please have a look at it.
Okay. He takes it and
I
continues to talk at you while he examines the stone with a little magnifying glass.
I, I try to interrupt him as much as possible and to explain I don't require that you pay me the full price of the stone in gold. You can give me some gold and then other stones, it doesn't matter. Whatever you have, it really doesn't matter. I just need to leave extremely quickly. My boat is awaiting me.
When you over
My ship
interrupt
is
him,
waiting.
he just kind of keeps talking and seems to respond to the things that you're saying just after you say them and just kind of loops around. He actually seems quite comfortable with you interrupting him and talking over him and carries the conversation rather smoothly that way. But he agrees to
So,
pay you your gold.
sorry?
He agrees to buy the ruby from you for 350 gold.
I immediately agree.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Well, great, wonderful. Once you've made the deal, stop selling. They say, here you go, and he counts out 200 gold coins. He actually has them in like neat little stacks, rolled up in some sort of reeds. He just puts the stacks of 200 coins in front of you and hands you what is it? 15 smallish looking garnets. It says each of these should be worth about 10 gold, so this should be 150 gold, and this should be 200 gold, and that should be 350 gold total. And there you
That
go. And if you
is
want to catch
that
your boat,
is
you should probably
most
run now, and you probably
excellent,
shouldn't stay
sir.
here any
That is
longer.
most excellent. I thank you very much. I need to leave now. My ship is waiting, and this is a very important trip that I'm on. Thank you very much. Bye bye. And I
Excellent. If you ever
leave.
have any more gems, come back. I'd be happy to buy them off your hands.
I'm already gone.
Yeah.
I
You
run back to the ship.
you make it back to the ship. It's only been about half an hour. You get back with plenty of time to spare. The Barker is still there, and he sees you come up and goes, "Ah, have you gotten your funds?"
Yes, sir, indeed. So, how much would it be for taking me as close as possible to the island and then providing me with a small boat?
Right. The canoe is 30 gold to buy, plus shipping and handling is another 6 gold, and then going out of our way is going to be another 20. I think all in all we can get you. I guess you're not going all the way to Minataria, so we can knock off some money there. Uh, all in all, 60 gold. We can get you to Paradise Island with a canoe to get you all the way onto shore, nice and dry the whole way. What do you say?
Does that include food, sir?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Then it's a deal. And I
Excellent.
hand him 60 gold.
All right. He takes the gold happily and walks with you onto the boat up to the captain. And you can hear him explain the deal to the captain, who nods approvingly.
I stand by to see if I would need to add a bit of gold.
No, the captain seems to agree to the deal right away. He comes over, shakes your hand, and says, "Are you not to turn down gold? And all sales are final, by the way. But are you sure you want to go there? It's crawling with gnomes.
Yes, sir,
Have
I'm
you
sure.
have you ever met a gnome?
I met a gnome today, sir.
And you really want to be in a city surrounded by gnomes?"
Sir, I really enjoy silence, but I want to achieve a state of absolute silence, and sometimes this journey requires to stand a bit of noise.
Different strokes for different folks, I guess. Welcome aboard.
Thank
Lady
you
Luck
very
will
much,
take you
sir.
wherever you need to go.
Excellent.
Okay.
I try to stay as isolated as possible throughout the trip.
Okay. You keep to yourself, which is very easy to do. You can kind of just stay below decks. You share a room with a bunch of other people. You sleep in a series of hammocks. It's a fairly quick journey, especially for someone who's 400 years old. A few days passes
Yes.
like nothing to you. And sure enough, they swing by Paradise Island. The captain does make an announcement that they're going to go a little out of the way on their journey, but everyone should take in the beautiful view of Paradise Island because so few people ever actually get to see it. He doesn't give any reasons as to why. And they lower you into a boat, push you away, and you start rowing towards the island.
As a navigator, I should be kind of good at rowing, I think.
If you're a navigator, you've spent a lot of time on a ship, and even if you weren't a rower, you would have had at many times had to row boats. So
Yes.
this is not a problem for you.
Yes, I just thought about it because in real life I have tried to row a boat,
Is it
and
difficult?
it is extremely difficult. I managed to get into big quarrels with my wife then when we were trying to row the boat together. So yeah, very hard to synchronize and do it right. So that's why I asked the question.
Well, it's a little easier if you're not trying to go in sync with someone.
I guess so.
Yeah. You pull onto shore. There's a small little village nearby, and it seems that 100 or so gnomes have come out of the village to watch you row your boat onto shore. And as you land, they all swarm out around you and start tugging on your clothes and inspecting you, inspecting the boat. They have little magnifying glasses and all sorts of gadgets that they start to use. Someone's got some calipers and they start measuring the boat in different places. Another person's knocking on it. Someone's taking wood scraping samples. Other people are just examining the fittings. And they're all speaking to you, and you can't understand a word any of them are saying. They might be talking in common, but there's like 50 people talking to you at the same time, and there's no
I'm
breaks.
standing I'm standing in a very stoic manner,
Hmm.
the face not moving at all, and just waiting for them to get bored with me.
Well, you are a
If
patient
it takes
man.
several hours, I'll wait several hours.
It takes an hour before
And
they kind of get the picture, and during that hour, a few of them try to pick up your boat, your canoe, and drag it into the village. Do you permit them?
yes, I don't care about the canoe.
Oh, okay. If you don't even say anything, they take the canoe and the paddle and they just go into the village with it, and they are not seen again. As they are starting to leave, and you kind of things clear up enough that you can make your way into the little village itself, there is a dark shadow that passes over you, and I need you to make me a saving throw versus paralyzation.
Wow. I should have checked the saving throws.
It's okay. I was not expecting to need it. I can look that up for you though. It is a wizard paralyzation, poison, death magic. It's a 14 or higher.
Okay.
I'm sorry, petrification. It's a 13 or higher.
Petrification is like death, right?
No, paralyzation, poison, death magic.
Ah,
Petrification
yeah.
and polymorph is what you're saving against.
So I roll d20.
And you want to roll a 13 or higher.
Okay.
19. Perfect. This shadow passes over you and you feel it shiver up your spine. You look up and you see many feet above you, many hundreds of feet above you, is a large green dragon, wings spread abroad. It passes over the village as the gnomes shriek and dart for cover, and you see the dragon heading out into the ocean in the direction of the ship.
I'm going to dart for cover as well.
Yeah. The dragon leaves your little village alone and goes towards the ship that went out of its way to drop you off here.
I'm shaking my head.
And I guess we're done with our audition here. But that ship does, well, we'll leave its fate uncertain. But I think we all know what happens when green dragons find ships.
It was not my intention, it's not my fault.
No, not
But
your
it's
fault in the
things like
slightest.
that make you desire to leave this world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's over the years, all these unfortunate circumstances accumulate, and you just want to go away.
Okay. Well, that is that. You were very successful in today's campaign. Well done. Congratulations.
Dice were with me.
So yeah, that's it for Hardcore Heroes editions for now. We have another one coming up in half an hour, and then Shenanigans 2 hours after that. Dan, do you have anything else you would like to say before we sign off?
It was really a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. I hope we get to see more of you and your perfect elven accent.